I am very excited for today's Builders Weekly podcast. So for our listeners out there, Elizabeth is on holiday. She's taking a little bit of holiday. So I decided to get us a very important guest here at the Delta campus. But before we get into that, I just want to say thank you to the Delta, as always, for making this podcast possible. And yeah, so Nina, welcome. You are head of campus.
Yeah, head of campus operations.
Head of campus operations at the Delta. So everything that happens here from reception to the yoga room to everything to what we see here is you, right?
Yeah, I mean, we built the whole campus. So everything that I always say to the members when they start with us that as part of their journey, they won't get around us. Like at one point, they will always meet me and my team.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of puts it together pretty much.
Yeah, there's just in a building like this, there's so many things happening everywhere all at once.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's also why I wanted to have you on here today, because I know that as a very important part of our team, campus team in the Delta, you guys are also using a lot of AI, and we have deployed AI into your department as well. And and I think what's super interesting for me and how you guys use AI is how AI meets the physical world.
Yeah.
Because it's all nice and well to have AI agents and all of those things, but you guys, it's where the rubber hits the road. It's where AI starts interacting with humans, right?
Yeah.
And spaces. And so can you just run me like quickly, what is the when we talk about AI and the physical and your team and how it makes people sharper, and can you give me a quick rundown of how you guys use it and what effects it has in your team?
Yeah. So I think in general, it's a very interesting situation that we're in because we're a physical building, we're a physical product, we have people coming up to us all the time, we have physical reception, and physical requests, and like everything happens in real time in that moment, face to face. So I think for us in the beginning, it was very interesting when AI first started coming up also here in the company, because we kind of had to figure out in which direction are we going? How can we actually use it? And I think the conclusion that we came to at one point was that AI, it only supports us, it helps us, because the difference is, because everything is physical, it cannot replace someone, because AI doesn't help you with handing out parcels and packages, or helping when someone is standing in front of you and having an issue. So I think we had to figure out how do we actually use it on a day-to-day basis, and how can we actually implement it so that it's usable for the team. Because also the levels of people that we have in the team there's a very broad level. So for example, for leadership, it doesn't make sense to use it because we have way different resources that we can use it for. For someone at front of house, again, that let's say is the first point of contact when checking someone in or greeting a guest, they don't need to use that in that moment. It doesn't help them. Not in that moment. It doesn't help them in that moment. So I think for me, the challenge was trying to figure out how do we get there. Maybe to give you some examples, was we started to implement it essentially as a database. I think one of the core things that happens on a day-to-day basis is information that is missing, or not everyone has the right information in that moment, or it's gone missing, or one person has one thing, a customer came up and gave them something gave them an information, and the next person doesn't know. So a couple of things that we did was build an internal database with all of our SOPs, information, vendors. But when we talk about vendors, to go into the very nitty-gritty, it's which cup do we use? Which fork is it that you need to reorder? So everything is in like one space, and then the team can just go in, and rather than look at an SOP and read all of the information, they can just ask and say, right, just give me the information. Which has made things significantly easier. So we're essentially trying to reduce the amount of interaction that needs to happen, and so that the team can work significantly more independently. So that's one thing. And then one thing that I'm currently, one project that I'm trying out right now, for myself is I've essentially built a daily little recap of
There.
of what's happening for my day, so I can then for my next team meeting brief my team, brief the CEO, and just have all of that. So I'm currently testing that for myself, and the goal is to also implement that for the team, so that everyone on a daily basis essentially can do a little brain dump. And it does a daily briefing for everyone on like what's happening the next couple of days. Because again, a physical thing is an event, an external meeting room booking, a trial day for an office. So to have just all of that information in one go. And maybe to wrap it up. So the last big thing that we're starting to use it for, especially from the leadership or the senior team members, is research about our about topics or projects that we want to implement.
Okay.
Just to give an example, so the key access system that we're using, I think we're in a very lucky position that we're by now so many members that in full transparency sometimes it gets a little hard to remember who's who. And so we needed to find a different way to make our members visible. And what we're going to do is we're going to implement a badge where you have a picture of yourself and that you're a member here. So everyone's going to walk around with like a nice little X.
Nice.
I think a year ago or like even longer ago, it would have taken me maybe a full or 2 full days trying to figure out what is the right systems that we can use. How does it integrate with the current existing systems that we have? All that type of stuff. This type of research, it took me half an hour to get it done. And so essentially now it's ready to deploy. Now I just need to buy the items and let it happen. Yeah, and I think that's a pretty good example of how we're starting to use it in a physical space.
I think what to me, there's two things I picked up there, and that is that the one thing that I love about how you and your team are using AI is that you're not going into the direction of saying, okay, we're going to try and see how AI can replace certain people. It's like, how can AI make certain or all our people way sharper and way better? So that our people can spend time in the space and not behind their computers.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, because the human component of our space and of our work, it just doesn't go away.
Exactly.
AI helps us get things done, but it doesn't replace the team. And I think that's very important because also in the beginning when this whole topic came up, I think the team also maybe was a little scared of like, how does it change for us? How will that affect my work? And I think by now it actually has just shown us that it helps us and it doesn't take away anything.
Totally. And I think this feeds in quite well to, and I think that is something that you and your team are doing quite well. I know yesterday on campus, I did a masterclass on the company brain. And I think that becomes so relevant, even more relevant in a physical space. Like when you said, who knows what about that thing? And like, if one of your people at the end of the day does a brain dump, like you said, about what happened on the rooftop, with something that referenced the building, then in tomorrow's briefing, that would be suddenly part of your context that AI is part of. So just like, and suddenly there's no need for 3 tools for someone to feed data into your company brain, into the context and everything your team is aware of. So yeah, I think that is something you guys are doing very well. And something that I keep saying also to ventures we work with is, don't think of what or how many people you can replace with AI. It's like, how can you have the people you have now become exponentially better? That's the thing. Right? I mean, great intro and a great overview of all of that. But the one thing that I think a lot of from our listeners would like to know is that, sure, the Delta is, we are very tech enabled, we are very tech focused, but the campus team, you're working with a team, you aren't developers, you aren't, as people say, techies, you are people who do people things. Can you quickly run me, how did the deployment of the AI into your systems, how did that process work?
Yeah, I think it's super interesting because, again, when it first started coming up, there was this whole bubble of how do we use it? How do we get it onto the computer? How do you feed it information? Like all of this type of stuff. And I think it actually was one of the biggest challenges because, as you said, we're not developers, right? We're not technical people. So that was also my personal challenge of trying to understand, how do I make this happen? Like, how do I integrate all of that stuff? I think for us, in that sense, we're lucky because we have you guys literally in house. All I needed to do is go to a different floor and literally ask you guys, how do I make this happen? Like, how can you help me integrate this? Like, what do I need to do? I have issues here. So I think that was the biggest topic, was just trying to get started and trying to play around with it, and then just dumping your ideas, or like my ideas that I had, into it, and then also seeing what is the outcome of it. And quite frankly, I sometimes also just challenged it and say, okay, what are the next steps? Like, what do I need to do now to actually make that happen? And just simply relying on itself to help you.
And that is something that I advise a lot of people to do exactly what you did. It's like, let's say you're working with Claude, and I sometimes feel like Anthropic should be paying us for every time I say Claude on this podcast. But if you're working with Claude, ask Claude how do I like me to work with you.
What are next steps? This is what I want to do, and now help me figure out how to do it.
Figure this out.
And I think within our team, sometimes or in general, when we think about AI, not everyone needs to have the same level of expertise. So for me, from leadership, or also the senior team members, we need more knowledge. Like, we need to understand better how to use it on a daily basis. And then for the, let's say for the front of house team, for them, it's essentially a chatbot that they need to use, right? So the levels of knowledge, or also the technical knowledge that you need in those moments, it's very different.
Yes, it doesn't have to be that in depth.
Exactly.
Although I have seen what worked very well in our deployment of AI inside our company, especially amongst non-tech teams, is it really works to have at least one champion in the team. One person who is the AI champion, even if that person is not tech enabled, then just someone who can say, okay, cool, I know that our team is maybe struggling with this. I will go find an answer. And even if that means coming up to the third floor and
asking you guys.
Right. And I think you guys have done that pretty well. I think the thing that we spoke about before this podcast, as we were talking about this, is where you said the biggest shift isn't speed. It was that people stopped waiting for information. It's that thing that the waiting period between I'm blocked because I'm waiting for this little piece of information, that is essentially
that's essentially gone, or almost
almost gone.
I think almost. I think you'll never completely get rid of it, and that's also not the goal. But we're working in the right direction with that.
And I just want to finish off this thought with, what would you say to someone listening out there who are thinking to deploy this from a technical perspective? What is one of your learnings that you had in that area? And it can be something where you're like, we screwed up here.
I think my biggest, the technical part of it was understanding the language that you need to use and how specific you need to be for order to get the correct outcome. And I think that was one of the biggest learnings for myself, was I had this idea in mind, and then I just brain dumped it essentially into Claude and said, help me. And then the outcome wasn't what I was expecting, or what I wanted it to be, because I just didn't do it right. And I think that was the technical, maybe for tech people that's not technical, but for me it felt very technical, because I just couldn't move on without having the right setup for this. And honestly, the asking Claude, or like asking the AI, like, what are next steps? What do I need to do now? Like, help me figure it out. How does the integration work? And then from there, you take next steps.
One of the biggest feedback I got from when we were deploying AI into the Delta was when people actually slacked me in the background. Like, can someone tell me what GitHub is?
Oh, yeah, for sure. 100%. 100%. Yeah, but that's also when I said earlier, you can just come up here and ask you guys. That's exactly what I mean by that. Because I think it also not everyone can have all of the knowledge. Exactly. I think that just doesn't work. That's exactly why you have people for that can help you with that.
Great. So I would like to know, and I think everyone out there, and I think a lot of people actually on campus here, because everyone on campus, I know I'm thinking, how do you guys do all this? I normally think campus is like a 50-person team, and it's more like a 5-person team. So I think with regards to AI, how AI was and is currently being deployed in your team with regards to bridging that gap between AI and the physical thing? What else, like, if I have to now ask you, what's your, let's make it 3 biggest learnings that you've had in this whole process that you would tell other business leaders that has to do with physicality and AI?
In general, I would say just get started with it. Yeah. No, seriously.
Yeah.
Because at one point you will just need to jump on a train and try and figure it out, because as scary as it is, and also as it was for me and like the team and trying to figure out how all of this works, is you need to get started. And you don't need the most technical background. You don't need to be a developer. You can just start by playing around with it. And again, brain dump your ideas. Maybe give it context about your business. Tell it your pain points.
Yes.
And let it help you figure it out. And again, you don't have to integrate it into every single system or to every single team member. That also doesn't have to be the goal. And maybe that's also the second thing. Like, just pick one thing. Pick one pain point that you have, or something that takes you hours usually, or that is very, maybe it can also be something that you generally enjoy doing, but if it helps you make your life easier. A good example for me, for example, is our member communications. So we, ever since we opened a business, I still do them up until this day. It's something that I generally enjoy doing. But AI definitely has helped me speed up the process, and getting it over the line and helping me rephrase it maybe sometimes, or bringing the point across. So to anyone out there hearing that,
I always say that. I always say to everyone, I think sometimes everyone's like, okay, but I'm not a techie, and how do I now build an AI agent? I'm like, forget about it. You don't have to build an AI agent.
No, you don't.
Like, what I always say is, like, if you really want to do something that's going to, well, I always say to people, do essentially take Claude, connect your email, connect your Slack or your calendar, and then create in Claude a scheduled task. Just create a scheduled task while Claude can talk to your email and your calendar. And I mean, the opportunities are endless there. It's like, on a Wednesday, I want you to check if I got an email from that supplier. If I haven't, please send them this. Like, something as basic as that. And then also email me try something as basic as that, and then just build from there.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Just pick like one thing and play around with it until you understand, is the outcome as you expect it to be, as you want it to be, and then you can move on to the next thing. I think that's also what we're trying to do with our team, which is kind of the third thing that I would say is, it's not about replacing your whole team or getting everyone onboarded onto it. It's having your team being able to work a little bit more independently, and less reliant maybe on you or senior leadership. So it helps them in their daily work. And again, it doesn't have to be super complex. If it's just a small thing and it helps them, that is fantastic.
Absolutely.
So I think the biggest thing that I have is just get started with it. Pick one thing, keep it simple, keep it running, play around with it, let it help you, and then you move on from there. And again, your whole business doesn't have to be suddenly transformed.
Totally.
Or like one whole team member has to be replaced by it. That, for me at least, that's not a goal. But it has definitely helped us in our processes, in our daily work, how we run campus.
So if I understand you correctly, it's don't wait to understand before you start. The second thing, just pick something and build the smallest thing. Just solve something small. And then the third thing is, like, don't try to replace people, make them more independent. And then to be able to do, as you always say, make them independent so they can do more of the human work. The stuff that AI can't do.
Exactly.
Cool. Okay, so now we've reached that part of the podcast where we talk about what is hot this week and what is up and coming that people should look out for. And it feels to me like it's such a busy week.
It is.
It's like
really
World
is.
Cup. It's like there's things happening on our rooftop. And so I've got a list here of things that's happening. So this week on Friday, depending on when you're listening to this, it's the Guntersine event. And so that is on Friday evening. Then next week, super busy week, we have 3 soccer World Cup viewings on the rooftop.
Rooftop.
Yeah, so I mean, if you haven't seen the Delta rooftop now, then you should really come. There's a sauna up there and a pool.
And a pool.
And a pool. So the June 22nd, there's a viewing. There's June 23rd. These are all in the evenings. And then on June 25th, there's also a viewing, and that is co-hosted with One Football. The One Football ones are pretty big. I will definitely not miss the June 25th one. We will share all of the links to these events on the podcast, and also check out our LinkedIn. You will find it there. But June 24th.
Oh, yes. Very excited.
There's something happening here on June 24th. Mark your calendars.
Yeah.
But June 24th, I think I've now said it 3 times. So please.
Yes. So we are soft opening our 4th floor. Once a month, we are doing drinks with all of our members. Everyone's welcome to just join, and we're soft launching the 4th floor. We have a huge terrace. We're doing drinks on the terrace. Very, very exciting for the next step that we're going with the campus. So that's happening on the 24th.
4th floor.
Yeah.
Moving up in the world, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4th floor is open. Rooftops open. It's definitely a summer to be reckoned with here at the Delta. And with that, we're going to get to our weekly words of wisdom. So now for this week's words of wisdom, from what I've just learned from you here, is don't use AI to replace humans. Use AI to enable humans to be infinitely better.
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah. That's a really good recap.
Thank you for joining. And
Thank you so much for having me.
And I hope everyone here at the Delta now knows how much you guys get done. And it's not a 50-person team. It's just 5 people.
Yeah.